Weird lighting. Hi. All right, you guys settle down. Settle down. It's still not the right camera. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's working. It's fine. We have sound. We have. All right. Go ahead and gently lay your left hand on your heart. Sit up so that your heart rises into your hand. Just take a moment to meet yourself where you are. It's a really beautiful buzz in the room. Lots of like community and connection and friendships and chatter. Just kind of, you can still feel the little buzz. Just go ahead and take that in. That is a beautiful and valuable thing. And believe it or not, that is part of our self-care. Being in community, being around like-minded people, practicing in the presence of other humans, right? So just take that in for a moment. Feel what that feels like. And see if you can make your breath a little bit bigger so that you start to kind of feel your own energy and your own presence in the room. And know that your presence matters. You are part of what makes this room feel this way today. If any one of us wasn't here and somebody else was, it might feel a little different in the room. And I know just from being with you week after week and month after month that when we come together in this space, there is sort of an understanding that we will hold each other through this practice. Each and every one of us, our breath sustains the breath of our neighbor. Our ability to express tension from the body isn't met with any frustration by your neighbor. It's met with like, oh, I'm so happy they are feeling better now. Or, oh, I'm sorry that that felt painful for them. And what we are cultivating is a community full of compassion and sensitivity and actually a self-awareness. And I think that's more important than any pose that we're going to do today. I love the poses, you know I do. That's the fun part. But I just really wanted to take a moment to acknowledge the other work that we're doing here. And I want us to value that in some way. And that goes for all of those of us that tune in online. We don't have anyone present on the screen with us today, but I think there's like at least 8 or 10 people registered for the recording. And every single one of you are also part of this experience. We hold you energetically just like you hold us. We are all making our practice a priority today. Let's take one more breath and feel the heart rise again into the hand. And then with the exhale, let your left hand come down. I'm just going to separate our feet apart and come into Baddha Konasana. If you're sitting up on a prop, you can come down and then resist the temptation to pull your feet toward you, and instead just let them slide a little bit further away. And then just let your head bow forward. You can go as far as you want to. You can just slouch a little bit, or you can go all the way head to heels. Just listen to your body. Some of us drop our head to our feet pretty easily. Sometimes we get there and we realize, oh, I'm not really warmed up yet. That was a little much. Maybe I need to back up, right? And so listen to your body. The more honest and truthful you are in that relationship, the more you set the example for others to do the same. And we don't realize how much sometimes our extra effort to try and do something inspires someone next to you. And also your ability to not try and pull back and honor yourself also inspires the person next to you. And so we don't do this work for that reason. What we do is we do it to cultivate that deeper relationship and trust with our own bodies. And by doing so, we become an example of that to others. So no shaming if you try hard and no shaming if you back off, right? As long as you're doing you, then you know that you're doing your yoga. Let's come back a little bit to the breath. Deepening the breath. It's not so easy when you're in a forward fold, right? The area that we breathe from, the diaphragm, is compressed here. And so you got to work a little harder to make the breath deeper. You got to let the breath kind of push into the back body where there's space. You have to let the belly soften and let it rise up into the collarbones and the hollowing of the chest. So see if you can actually serve your body well with the breath in this moment. And then I want you to look up just a little bit. So you're not going to come out of the pose, but just inhale and look forward. And that way you can look up here toward me. And I'm going to take my body over to the right. So I want to take my body toward my right knee. And you'll feel a little twist in your lower back. Did you guys get that? Yeah. And then just kind of let your head down. And then soften in just a little. There's nowhere to get to. There's nothing forced or pushed. You can play with a little tucking of the tailbone and a widening of the kidneys here. Feels kind of nice if you want to expand that space. A little rounder at the lower back. And just keep checking back in with the quality of your breath. Energetically, something shuts down if you stop breathing, right? And your body feels different. So your presence in the room changes with the quality of your breathing. So we want it to be smooth and steady so your nervous system doesn't get all jacked up. And so that you don't exude energy in the room that is not productive for anyone, not you or anyone around you. What's going on, Rivka? Okay, so just don't go so far, right? Can you just do a little less? Let's take one more breath here. A big inhale, you might rise a little, and then melt in on the exhale. And then look up on your in-breath and start to travel back to the center. You're going to kind of stay low. We're just going to move through the center and over to the other side. And as you do it, there's nowhere to get to. You don't have to exactly go chest to knee or head to knee. Just see what feels good. Stop where you want to. By honoring yourself, you inspire that in others. And you can play with rounding the lower back a little more. It could just be a gentle tailbone tuck. It could be a little deeper twist. I know like my QL gets a little extra something when I twist a little bit further. Yeah, and I just feel a little more. So be curious about what you're feeling. Don't get stuck in the pose. But also don't overachieve and try. You're not trying to tear yourself apart here. We're just trying to get the tension to leave. The fascia gets kind of like knotty and dense, and we want to soften it and melt it a little bit. And so we check the quality of the breathing and our attitude. Let's take that last breath. You might rise as you fill up, but melt yourself in as you exhale. And then we look up a little, and again, staying low, find your way back to the center. Please use your hands and a little belly support. Pull the belly to the spine and start to come on up. Round your back until you can come straight up and stand tall through the spine. Yeah. Let's draw the knees up to the center and pause for a moment. How's that? All right, so we're going to open our legs a little bit wide today. I want you to take the legs wider than your mat, and you can stagger. One person can scoot back on the mat, one can scoot forward. And then just sitting up, like to the best of your ability. Sometimes we have to put our hands back, like the hamstrings are saying, hell no, right? But so sometimes we can actually do one hand forward, one hand back, and we can also adjust how much, right? You okay over there? The dog. It's the dog. Yeah. We have like one of those little like vacuum. Yeah, like, and so we always remind each other to let the dog out when we leave, right? So the dog can run around while we're away, keeping everything clean. So you can adjust how wide or how narrow you go with your legs, but we really want to try to sit up straight here. And then play a little bit with pointing and flexing. You might be surprised at how much the sensations change all the way through the leg, the front and the back of the leg, the ankles, the tops of the feet, the soles of the feet, ooh, the front of the shins, right? Like really play with that pointing and flexing. Sometimes I flex so much that my heels pop up. It feels really good. And then I can extend the legs a little longer. And then I point the toes and I feel the tops of the feet stretch. When do you ever stretch the tops of your feet, you know? That. So just like enjoy some of that movement. And then we're going to just simply turn to the right. And it might be surprising that the sensation happens in the left leg. Right? As you turn away from the left leg, the inseam of the left leg lengthens. Now, I just want you to point and flex with the left foot. I want you to find that flex and hold it. Not just the toes, the whole ankle. Yeah, Andrea, like that. Like push out of the heel. Like imagine that you could pull a little bit from the inner groin of the left leg all the way out to the left heel. Can you feel that? And then turn your body away from it a little more. Woo! Isn't that nice? We're just going to let that line open up and we're just going to sit in it and breathe. Maybe we go back to the quality of the breathing and the curiosity about like, how interesting is that? When I turn away from the leg, it stretches more. I don't know, my brain gets excited about new sensations coming up and like little tiny micro movements changing the experience, right? And it's those micro movements that engage my attention, right? And they're teaching me, like the sensations come with information, right? So when we feel something in the body, we want to pay attention. Now we're going to let that left leg have its experience, but we're going to start to fold ourselves toward the right leg, which is going to increase sensation in the right leg. Yeah? Now you got both going on. And again, we're breathing and we're making sure that the quality of our breath and our attitude feels like welcoming, feels open. And it helps in this one to not let your head drop to your knee, but instead to lift your head and let the chest be the thing that pulls forward. That way, as you lift the chest out over the right knee, you can still push out through your left leg. Can you feel that? Extending both. Yeah. And that's a little bit of muscle action. I'll give you that. But it's a minimal amount just to hold form. So the chest is reaching out to the right and the left heel is pushing out to the left. Flex your foot if you can, Ruthie. Left foot, yeah. So you're pushing out of the left leg and reaching your chest over your right knee. And we'll just take 2 more breaths there. And then soften both of your legs, soften your feet, rise back up to the center. It's amazing how much you can feel there as you turn back to center, sort of let that effervesce, right? It's like here and it's here. Just kind of be with that for a moment. And then we turn and twist a little bit to the left side. Start flexing the right leg, the right foot and ankle. That means the right toes are pulling up toward the knee. You got to work the foot. Imagine stretching the fascia on the sole of the right foot. Spread the toes out. So from the inner groin all the way out to the heel, you feel that on the right side, yeah? And you just keep turning away from it, just curiously feeling the length. And again, with sensation comes information. And so you point and flex a couple times, but then hold the flex. Yeah. And there's something curious about that. So just stay with it and watch what happens over time. Sometimes you can continue to twist a little and extend a little. The muscle tissue actually moves with you. It's the connective tissue that makes us feel stuck and stiff. And then the quality of the breath is high. The quality is voluminous in amount and in sound. And then we're going to move the sensation, or at least add to the sensation, so the right leg will stay with that nice long inseam. Pretty sure that's the kidney band up the inside of the leg. And then we turn and we just lean a little bit toward the left leg. Try to keep the chest out and the head up. It's not about head to knee here. Extending the spine out to the left and extending the right leg out to the right. A little bit of muscle action. And again, sensations come with information, right? Oh, you didn't know your lower back was that stiff, did you? Yeah. Well, you did know, but now you're really in it, right? Just remember how your discomfort can exude out of you. And your pleasure can exude out of you. Like, so when we enter a room, our energy matters. Right? You know what it feels like to be next to somebody who's miserable. And it's because we're sensitive. We're sensitive to each other. And sometimes our reactions to those unpleasant things are not our best selves, right? And so here, just kind of on a really simple level. Be aware of yourself and just be aware of how you feel around the energy that's around you. I think if we all paid attention a little more to that, we'd be better around each other. I believe that saying misery loves company is totally true, but so does joy, you know? Go ahead and start to soften the actions in your legs. Start to rise a little bit on the inhale. Turn and face forward. Just feel that effervesce. Okay. We're going to just take our fingers under the right knee. And that leg's been out there a long time. We really opened up the inseam. So when you pull your leg in, it's going to feel a little funny. It'll dissipate. So you just kind of pull that foot into the center line. Just let that be for a second. Now, we can lift and turn the torso toward the left leg again. And this time you can actually round because we're not pulling. The groins and the inseams actually really affect the way our lower back feels. Remember, all of you that were like feeling that lower back feeling? With that right leg bent, you could probably round your head toward your left knee. So there's a little twist and a little bend. Does that feel different? Yeah. I love that, Marty, how you're moving a little bit side to side, just trying to find the right place. Like there's a little bit of curiosity, right? I can't exactly direct you to the exact spot where your attention lives. I know you trust me and you want me to be able to tell you, but you know, like you are your own best teacher. I do my best. But I definitely encourage you, like, what if you turned a little more to the left? What if you backed up a little bit? What if you rounded the head down a little more? Like, you know, what happens when you move your body? And then how do you feel about it? Not just what do you feel, but how do you feel about it? Can it be pleasurable? Do you allow yourself to suffer in silence? Like, are you doing something that really feels terrible and just keeping your mouth shut? I mean, that to me would be insanity. You know? If you want to be able to come back on Tuesday and keep coming for weeks in a row, you don't do things that are really painful because you might need 2 weeks to recover from it. And the older you get, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you do. Right? So just be gentle with yourself. And then on your inhale, we'll rise up, turn and face forward. Now, this is going to be a big move. It's not something we often do in yin, but it's a really, really important way to open the front of the creases. I want you to take your right hand behind you, push down into your right shin and your left foot, and just watch. Just lift your hips and take that really beautiful stretch. Reach your arm up over your head. Let your head drop back behind you. Let the front of the hips lengthen. Draw your tailbone down. Move your hips forward. Come on, move your hips forward. Stretch. Now, hold your strength in the pelvic floor and lower yourself back down slowly. Nice. And we're just going to let that right leg open back up. Left one's been open a long time, so we hook underneath the knee and oh, yeah. Kind of doesn't even feel like mine, but it is. I know it's still attached. It's there. Yeah. And so with that knee bent, we can do that turn and then round to the right side. Yeah. Yep. I don't know, because I'm like obsessive compulsive about the floor. last night during teacher training, somebody's mat was like shedding and there was like all these black like things all over the floor. And the whole time I'm demonstrating poses, I'm like picking up all the pieces, you know? But then when I left, I let the dog out. And so now there's nothing on the floor anymore. It's a beautiful thing. And I know that some of that is my crazy, but it's because I really care about your experience when you walk in this room, you know? So round a little bit, stretch a little bit, move a little, be curious. Sensations change a lot with little micro movements. Yeah, right there. It's QL. So twist a little bit more. Turn the chest down. Does it get a little better? And then tailbone down and sternum forward. I feel like what you're touching is probably QL, the quadratus lumboris. It's a muscle that it runs along the lumbar spine. It has like 4 little attachments into the 4 lumbar vertebra. And so it's that lower back, that piece in the lower back. And as you twist and lengthen it, you feel it. Is anyone else feeling that area there? Yeah. Yeah, that's where we're at today. Target attained, right? Yeah, it's fighting you. Yeah. So don't fight back. Read it with kindness and compassion. And we'll take a couple more breaths. Maybe rising on the inhales, melting on the exhales. We forget a little bit more about the action and we move closer and deeper into the quality of the breath. And then on our next inhale, we'll just rise back up together. Yeah, and now here comes the best part. Let's hook the right leg, pull it back in, lift that left knee up, pull that one in. Yeah, you're smiling, spontaneous joy right there, right? Wrap your arms around your legs, bring your legs in close to your body, and then let your head and your body drop toward your legs. And we don't need a lot of time here, but it does feel really good after opening up all of the insides. We just kind of squeeze the legs into each other. Feel that. Let the knees squeeze in toward each other. Some of you are kind of wide in the legs. Bring the feet together, bring the knees together, and feel the inner groin squeeze just a little bit. And then relax the squeezing of the groins. Start separating the knees. We're going to open our feet kind of wide. And then reach down for our ankles. We okay? Yeah. All right, so this one, we're just going to kind of sneak the right arm under the leg so it goes behind the ankle and try to grip your hand on the floor. Yep, so the palm is just touching the floor, right? You can kind of feel that connection. We're not going to do anything else there. We're just going to leave that like that. But I want you to put your left hand on your left knee, and I want you to twist a little bit to the left side. How's that for the lower back? Yeah. So legs are wide. We're grounding the right hand and just using the left hand so gently on the knee to just lift and turn the collarbones open. See if you can keep lifting the chest so you don't feel that pulling on the QL anymore, right? You kind of feel like that part of your lower back is stretching, right? We're lengthening. The tailbone roots and the crown rises and it all feels good, hopefully. I never assume anything because some of the things that feel really good on me, people have told me, I don't really like that, right? So yeah, go figure. And again, this has a little bit of muscle effort in it, but try not to overdo. Try not to make it hard. Like just assume the shape in the outer form and then do the inner work. Work the breath. Hold your head up. If it feels like your head is dropping to the right, just kind of lift the chest and the collarbones. Yeah, that's better. And then just turn and look forward. Start sliding that right arm back out. It'll release any tension from your shoulder. Put it up on your leg and we'll take the other side. Left arm kind of goes on the inside. It slides under. And just put your hand on the floor. And then start twisting a little bit, like lifting up through the chest. Right hand is on the knee. It might help you twist a little bit. And just relax your toes. Lengthen your spine, just the littlest rotation from the heart space. Do your best to sit up straight here. Like, so you really, if you're feeling like you're rounding, maybe you bring the legs in a little closer. Maybe you open the legs a little wider, like play with it so that you're not getting that tailbone under hunch feeling, so that you can actually find that length, like sitting on the sit bones rather than on the tailbone. And then just go ahead and let the corners of your lips start to rise. Yeah. Yeah. You guys are really good at listening to cues. So I thought maybe I would just give you a little spontaneous joy, you know? The corners of the lips start to come up. And all of a sudden, if you happen to be looking around the room, you can actually feel the smiles on everybody, right? It's just unbelievable how much we are in it together. And we were starting to get pouty. We were starting to get like, I don't think I like this one so much. So, like, I might as well brighten the room up if I can. And then we just start looking forward, start sliding the left arm out from under the leg. And then here it goes, right into the full form firefly. We're going to take both legs out. We can point and flex a little bit. Our lower backs should be pretty loosened up. Our hips and our inseams of our legs are pretty lengthened. And so right here, we can actually start to forward fold. And if you know that this is not your favorite pose, go ahead and put something in front of you, like a bolster. Like you can put one right in front of your chest, and you can kind of do one of these, right? Do you need a bolster? I hate to make you get up, though. Who needs a bolster that doesn't have one? Oh, so take this one for sure. No, I don't need it. I was just demoing. Yeah. And it feels funny to get up and walk, right? It feels like you've been on a horse for 3 hours. It's like kind of feels like this when you get up. Right? You're walking around the room like, oh, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of funny. And so we fold into whatever degree the body is agreeing to. No expectations, no copying what you see, but really based on what you feel. And we're going to stay here for a little bit. And so we set up our props well, or we use our arms, and we humbly soften the heart, soften the head, soften the facial expression. Melt a little bit in the shoulders. Allow for a softening in the attitude about the pose. And you know that you can at any time bring your legs a little closer or soften your knees. You know, there's a million ways to make it a little less treacherous. I think if I had one rule for yin, it would be don't suffer in silence. Find a way or ask for help, right? Soften the energy in the feet. You see lots of flexing and working. Relax your toes, relax the soles of the feet, the ankles, the knees. And believe it or not, it's not unusual for the sensations to change the longer we stay. We start peeling away at some of the layers of the surface tension and we go a little deeper. See if you can be in relationship with the resistance in your body. Can you be a little kinder with it? Can you be a little more compassionate? Can you allow gravity to work on you rather than you thinking you have to do it all? Okay, just as much as you want to or not, you know. Let's start to work our breath. 3 long, slow, deep breaths. Ones that sort of lift you on the inhalation and melt you on the exhalation. You might feel that inflating of the lungs and then the melting in of the tension. One last time, breathing in, breathing in, breathing in. Let's all open our mouths and just breathe out a sound. And make sure you get your hands or your arms under you. Pull the belly into the spine and just really, really slowly start to walk it back. Be gentle with your lower back. Start to draw your tailbone down and your head and chest up. Sit for a moment. Are we okay? Let's take our fingers to the insides of our knees. And then just slowly, 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 bring those legs in. And as you bring your feet to the mat, go ahead and lay yourself down onto your back. Yeah. Right? Last night in teacher training, you guys were asking, like, is it too long to sit 15 minutes? We just sat for 41 minutes, right? You do what you need to do for your sequence, right? And then look at the spontaneous joy that just happened. Okay. One more time, a deep breath in, open mouth expression. And then please draw both knees into the belly. Yeah, there may be some stiffness there, yeah? And it's really the sacral ligaments, like that lower part of the back. You really feel stiff because it's not the muscles that we're complaining about. The muscles already went back where they belong. We're still sort of letting the ligaments and the tendons and the fascia that was kind of like congested back there. We're still letting that release. Let's open the knees wide. And as you press the knees open wide, press your tailbone down. That's a good one. So you feet are in the air. You're holding your knees, holding your knees. Just hold your knees. Let your feet dangle. You don't have to do anything to them. Just open the knees a little bit wide and then press your tailbone down. You feel that? And as the tailbone pushes down, with the same and equal amount of pressure, pull the knees into you. So you're creating a push and a pull. it's an isometric thing. It doesn't move. It doesn't move. The tailbone pushes down and the hands gently hug in, and you can feel that. Do you feel what's happening in the lower back? Yeah, the more still you are with that pressure, the more likely you are to get that stuff to loosen up. So it's a push-pull that doesn't move. It's union. It's yoga. There's a stillness in it, and yet it's still alive and vibrant and happening. It's kind of like us. We can be in stillness, but there's a whole world existing inside that nobody knows is happening, right? Okay. Go ahead and draw the knees back together. And then take both legs over to the right for spinal twist. Oh my goodness, listen to the drama. I imagine at home you might be having that too, because you're home alone in your room, right? And so you might be moaning and groaning. Let's open the chest wide and reach the left arm out. So a full-on spinal twist, full, like, typical form, right? But send your breath lower in the body now. Now that you don't have to stabilize yourself and you're not sitting up, you can actually breathe into the lower belly. Get the breath below the navel. See if you can feel the movement of the breath in the lower back. And from this point forward in the class, I really want you soft. I'm a genius. So you can actually feel the waves of breath moving because you're not rigid and you're not trying. And there's a softness that can come about throughout the body. And especially the places where I still feel, like in my groins, like I'm standing and walking right now and I can really feel the work that we did, you know? And so I really want those legs to be relaxed. I want the breath to soften down into the pelvic floor. I want you to really start to like bring a little bit of that gentleness to the body where we've been pulling. And then we'll turn our head back to the center and really slowly guide our legs back to the center. And now before the spinal twist, we did the spreading of the sacral area. We had our hands on our knees, right? And we were like doing the push-pull thing. Now I want one hand on each knee, and I want you to keep them somewhat at hip distance apart. But I want you to like pull your right knee towards you a little and let your left leg extend away from you a little. And then switch. So one hand on each knee. So no, just one hand on each knee. You pull kind of one in, keep one hand on each knee. Yep, and pull one in and let the other one go out. Yep, and then switch. And that's your SI joint. Can you feel that? So one knee coming in, then the other knee coming in, and you alternate. And there's some movement in the pelvis. You never extend all the way. Keep the hands on the knees the whole time. So you're never going that far. You're just kind of pulling one in and pulling the other. Yeah, do you feel what's happening in your pelvis now? It's kind of like you're doing this. You're like doing a little shake. Like if I want this kind of thing happening. Like in your hips, right? Yeah, like that. So the SI joint, where the sacrum and the hips meet. Yeah, and it's not so perfect, right? It's more like, it's about the hips more than the legs, right? You feel that? Yeah, like you're walking in place, right? There you go. Relax your feet. You're working the legs too much. Think more about the hips, right? It's just like, one in, one out, one in, one out. Yeah, gently. Kind of like if you were walking. You feel what happens? Yeah, I think we're getting it now. That's it. And then bring your legs back into center. And we'll take them over to the left side, spinal twist. As your legs go to the left, your arms open wide and we look to the right. You can go this. Yeah. There's room. You okay? Oh. So it wasn't the practice. It was before you got here. Okay. Okay, good. I'm glad. And again, the quality of the breath is everything. Can you get down in there? Can you soften in the lower back? Can you soften the pelvic floor? Can we feel some movement below the navel? And as above, so below. So if we're softening down in the bottom, we also need to focus on the lips, the root of the tongue, the jaw, the neck, right? The spine is one grouping of joints. So the energy can be consistent throughout the whole central channel of the body. I knew if I put this playlist on, somebody would fall asleep. So take your time there, enjoy. Let's take one more breath and let there be a little bit of a vocal expression on the exhale. And we'll really carefully bring it back to center. And again, the knees come into the center. And just one more way of balancing. Let's hug the right knee into the belly. Go ahead and extend your left leg long. Yeah, and you can feel that equal. Remember that feeling of when you were holding your knees and pressing your sacrum and there was a balanced action. See if you can find that here too. You only pull the right one in as much as you stretch the left one out. And the whole time, go back to that area in your lower back and kind of press the kidneys and the lower back into the floor. You'll get that QL to lengthen. You can let the left heel be on the ground. You don't have to keep your left leg in the air. That's a little too much work. Just push out of the heel, flex. That's the push and pull. Now, some of you are squeezing the right knee so much that you can't even get the left leg straight. So give up a little bit of your right leg for me, everybody. Give up some of that squeeze on the right leg and get the action of straightening and pushing out of your left heel. See if you can feel that first. You can feel the hip open up and become a little more spacious. And then match the energy of your left leg by pulling the right one in. Does that make sense? Yeah, I felt like it wasn't working. You can put a flex on your feet or not, but I just want you to feel the push and pull from the hip. because that's balancing out the lower back. And we're just going to keep that action for another breath. And then I want you to keep the pose. Like, don't change anything except for the energy and the attitude. So just relax both of your feet now and try not to white knuckle, but continue to hold on to the right leg. Just do it a little more gently. It'll stay where it is. You don't have to squeeze it. And just be there for a few more breaths. So as soft as you can be. And if your left leg for some reason is all the way out wide to the side, maybe you bring it back in line. Yeah, so simple alignment, simple pose. This is our counter work. Some of you have your right knee going a little bit wide. It's not a problem, but I think I would prefer if you brought the knee a little closer to the midline, because that will change the amount of pressure in the crease of that right hip, and that's where we were pulling. So even just pulling it a little bit into the midline can deepen the crease in the inner groin on the right side. I'm going to just hold it there. Yeah. Jim, draw your chin down for me a little bit. Yeah. There you go. Did you feel how your chin was jutting up a little bit? Yeah. And I bet we can even make this a little flatter. Nope. I need the support. Just like that. That looks better. Okay. Take a long, slow, deep breath in. A little vocal exhale. And then we release the hold on the right leg in slow motion. Just let it go. Slide it all the way down and just lay still for a moment. Yeah. Let that effervesce. Does it feel like effervesce to you? Yeah. Yeah, there might be heat. If you touch the front crease of your hip, you might feel heat coming out. Now, see if you can really soften that same spot. Imagine with your mind, go deep into the right hip. And imagine the leg bone relaxing in the hip socket. I really want to honor the work that we did there, and I'm just going to give it another minute. Just completely balancing the pelvis and breathing and trusting the intelligence of the body to do exactly what it does. It's that same idea as like you can't make your hair or your nails grow any faster than they do. Like you just gotta let, on a cellular level, you just gotta let the body do what it does and practice getting out of your own way sometimes. The majority of our healing and our nourishment happens when we are in a restful state. Now you can bend your left knee and put the sole of your left foot on the ground. And then when you go to grab that left leg, remember that you're pushing the right one straight, right? You can start pulling the left one into the body, but don't overdo the left side. That's what happened on the first side. We were just all squeezing so tight, that we couldn't actually get the action of the right leg to be in its fullness. So feel what's happening in the right leg. Feel the quadriceps kind of pressing down the leg and lengthening the leg. And then match the energy that you're doing in your right with the left. If you want to flex on your feet, you can. If you like the feet relaxed, you can do that too. And then remember that we have a tendency sometimes to fall open wide, especially after all of that energy that we did open wide, like the inner groins are loose. And so I kind of want to tighten them up. I want you to bring the leg a little closer to the midline. I want you to focus in on creasing the hip and the inner groin on the left side now, right? The inseam of the left leg. So if your knee is kind of pushing out to the left, bring it in a little bit more toward your ribs, toward your belly. And then we'll hold it there. And we're going to stay in the same exact pose, but we're just going to change the attitude about it. No more push or pull. The difference between doing and being, right? Just be there. Minimal effort. Maybe just the left hand on the left leg to keep it in place. Nowhere to get to, nothing to achieve. Go ahead and take that nice, long, slow, deep breath. Clear it out. Just hear the sounds around you. Know that you are part of that release of tensions as you let your left leg go and you start to lay it down. And you find yourself in the stillness, fully supported by those around you. And just allowing it to effervesce. So take a moment here. Just really take a moment and notice how you feel. Is there still a tenderness, or are you feeling vibrant? Like, what is going on? Yeah, I get that. That sign language, Carol. I understand you. How do you feel from the lower back down? Anybody have a word? Anybody feel fine? Delicious? Thumbs up? Double thumbs up? Yeah. Okay. All right, I want to just do one more thing to make sure that we feel nurtured before we go out, because I know that area is troublesome on a good day, right? And so when we pull on it and we yank on it, it can be really tender for the next day or two. So we're going to just bend our knees and we're going to open our feet wide and make sure your heels go as wide as the mat. I want you to kind of find a nice wide stance and make your heels a little bit wider than your toes. So slightly pigeon toe yourself here, and then let your knees drop into the middle. So our feet are on the ground, right? Right there, simple, yeah? And so our heels are a little wider than our toes, our knees drop in toward the midline, and we just relax. Again, what I want you to focus on is softening in the crease of the hips, softening the groins, melting, literally melting the inner groins. The knees don't have to touch, so don't force yourself to go deeper. Just like let them drop in toward each other. And then don't make that work. Allow there to be some ease. You can take the arms up overhead just to sort of clear out any congestion or anything that may be happening in the upper lungs. And then let the breath, we've been really pushing the breath down below the navel. Let's see if we can start to gently just sort of air out the chest wall, under the armpits, in the throat. So our knees are still bent and our knees kind of knock in toward each other. And then we're just going to take the breath up a little higher. Literally airing it all out. I'm looking for movement under the armpit. I'm looking for movement on you, like in the chest wall and up in the collarbones, right? See if you can get the breath to go up, 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 up into the top. Hey, Sherry, have a good day. You're welcome. And then can we soften that a little bit more? Elbows soft, no pulling in the shoulder joint. And go ahead and bring your arms down, laying the left hand onto the heart and the right hand onto the belly. And just take a moment to connect with yourself. Remember your place in the room, your place in your practice. Know that the energy that exudes from you right now becomes part of the whole. We are not separate from, but in this moment, in this experience, we are one. We are all part of something bigger than us. So we do the best we can with what we got, so we can contribute in some way. Sometimes we carry a heavier load, and sometimes we are carried. I think it's easier to reconcile that when we realize that we are part of something bigger. It's not just all about us. But in the same breath, it is about us. Because we got to pay attention to how we're being. Go ahead and start to separate your knees. Go ahead and slide each of your legs straight down the mat. You can leave your hands on your body if it feels good, or you can peel your hands off and let them come to rest beside you on the ground. Remembering that we rotate the arm bone so that the shoulder blades can sit flat and the palms can face up. I want you to savor a little bit longer Shavasana today. I think we're programmed for a certain amount of minutes, and I'm just going to extended play today just a little bit. I'm coming around with the cloths. There'll be a cool cloth infused with frankincense by your left shoulder. And I especially love the cloths during the day because you can cover your eyes, so it's not so light in the room. And just know that Shavasana is a process. That releasing and letting go, that dance with surrender, sometimes takes time. How the way we awaken can affect the way we step into the next part of our day. So honor yourself in this moment. And in the sweetest, most sensitive way, let's start to stretch and move gently. Maybe we even roll onto one side and curl up. And you can pick whichever side you like. And bring the camera back to center. You can use your hands for support. Maybe you push into your elbow, you push into the floor, into your hands, and then you kind of pull yourself up. Take a moment, notice how you feel. Look around, see how everyone around you feels, right? Right? We were in it together. I mean, there's something about that. I mean, we come into the room, it's dimly lit with soft music. We get on the floor barefoot and we start rolling around with each other. We don't even know each other's names, you know? It's like there's something about that connection and that familiarity, right? That makes that possible. That common connection. So let's not forget that we have that. That is part of what we cultivate here, beyond the movements, right? Beyond the asana. And the house of love. And so to Sherry, Hope, Leslie, Nancy, Brittany, oh, Brittany and Laura. Nikki is in the room, right? It's Nikki Prime, so that's online too. Oh, and Jessica and Smadar. Yeah, there's a lot online today. So to all of you, you are part of that experience as well. Each and every one of us. How do your backs feel? How do your inner thighs and inner groins feel? What feels like what? Yeah, we did. Okay. Yeah, I don't go there often because I know that it leaves a little bit of residual. So if you walk out of this class feeling like, I'm a little tender, maybe this yin stuff isn't good for me, that's not the answer. It means give it 48 hours, and if it's really tender, a little ice, Advil's not a terrible thing. I'm not prescribing any kind of drugs, but anti-inflammatory. If you feel inflamed for some reason, then you can take care of that. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly where. Yeah. And so if you're tender, like, no, that's normal. I'm so glad you said it out loud because people don't want to admit, like, I'm the one who's feeling it. Everybody else seems fine. But, like, no, like maybe you feel a little raw. Maybe you feel a little tender, right? Sometimes you walk out of class feeling a little tender, right? And so that's so normal, right? So just a moment to acknowledge our humanity. Yeah. And then we'll close together with the beautiful and sacred sound of Om. Deep breath in. Om. Om Shanti 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 He. Om Peace Peace Perfect Peace. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. May all beings be happy and free, including all of us. May the actions of my life and all of our lives somehow contribute to that happiness and to that freedom for all. And not just for our humanity, but for all sentient beings. May we wish for peace. May we wish for ease. May we pray for a day where we all know peace, peace, perfect peace. Namaste. You're so welcome. Yeah. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Um, I know it's kind of nice maybe to have a snoring man next to you. I don't know. Um, just two quick things. Friday night, Jocelyn's teaching at Raw Juice. So if you also like to move and not just do yin, but the vinyasa practice Friday night, it's a happy hour, juice and yoga with a DJ on the rooftop of Raw Juice on Federal Highway. And we're also having teacher training weekend for the chakras this weekend. So if you're a past graduate, you know that you can drop in. If you want to participate, there's a whole workshop open to the public on the chakras. It'll be Saturday and Sunday from 1 to 7. And we are going to talk about the energy body. We're going to talk about the psychology of yoga. We're going to talk about how trauma lives in our bodies and how the yoga and the breath work heals. You're so welcome. What's your name? Anna. Anna. Oh, yeah. It's so good to meet you. And so if you're interested, you can see Cindy about registration. I think it's going to be a really good weekend. It's always potent. So it'll be online and in person. And yeah, that's my story. Namaste.